Hi there, listeners of Accents, a podcast for literature, arts, and culture. I'm your host, Katerina Stoykova, and I have the pleasure of serving as the director of the Kentucky Book Festival, a program of Kentucky Humanities. The next installment of KBF will take place on November 2nd at Joseph Beth Booksellers from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Today's episode features two friends and supporters of the festival, Larry Pemble and Jeanine Triplett of the newly created James Baker Hall Foundation. Larry is the founder and he is also James Baker Hall's eldest son, and Jeanine is the executive vice president of the foundation. James Baker Hall Foundation is one of the supporters of this year's festival. Hi, Larry and Jeanine, and welcome to Accents.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you.
The foundation is a fairly new organization. Tell the listeners of Accents about the mission and the vision of the James Baker Hall Foundation.
Well, the mission of the foundation is to support Kentucky artists, specifically writers and photographers, which my dad was either of those and both of those. And so we provide direct funding to writers to help them have time to produce their work and get it out so we can hear it.
What are some activities and or events that we can look forward to?
Well, the biggest event that we have coming up will be on October 1st, and it's our first book award announcement for the James Baker Hall Foundation. So in the spring, we announced that we were accepting submissions for the book award, and the submissions closed this summer, and we were really very pleased and overwhelmed by the response. So over the summer, the panel judge has been very busy reading all the submissions and working on the process, and we now have our first book award winner and 3 finalists who will be honored and recognized on October 1st. That event will take place at Spalding University in the Egan Leadership Center from at 7 p.m., and everyone is invited to join us.
It turns out that there are quite a few emerging poets of really very high caliber in Kentucky, which is what we suspected and what we see. And so we're interested in these emerging voices. I say a lot that the kids are what are important. It's not age kids. It's chronological achievement as an artist is what we're looking for. And so the book award was open to unpublished poets this year. It'll be in a different genre next year. We'll have the book award will probably be for short fiction or some other type of literature. But this year we saw an amazing number of really talented people were able to submit a manuscript of over 50 pages with a 60-day window for that to happen. We accelerated it during this year. We needed to have it consummated so we could do a fall announcement. So that was the time that we had. Yeah, I think that it'll be quite amazing, and we plan to do some things with the finalists and the winner in terms of ongoing promotion of their work and the foundation's work. But what we're really about is having Kentucky acknowledged as the hotbed of literary endeavor, which has been for many, many decades already, not too well known, but we're going to promote that and go out and look for the future James Baker Hall Book Award winners and the future poet laureates of the state, which we think are sitting out there waiting to be found.
You mentioned direct support to artists. Are there current opportunities, or will they be on future opportunities to apply for direct support?
We have 3 programs going on at the moment. The first is the Book Award, which will be an annual thing. Maybe we'll even do 2 of them a year. This was our inaugural year, so we were able to do one. We also have outreach programs going on in Bullitt County and in Knott County. In Bullitt County, we work with Bobby Buchanan, who's developed a right to recovery program that she brings to incarcerated female poets, we hope, and she does that on a bi-monthly basis. So we fund her to continue doing that, and we're interested in she's had many years of success doing that, and we're making it so possible for her to do more. In Knott County, we have a partnership with the Heinemann Settlement School, and to look for young writers who are eligible to attend their Ironwood Writers Conference, which they started 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, actively going out looking in Eastern Kentucky high schools for kids that are interested in writing and would like to participate. And so we're looking to identify Ironwood participants with the idea that that's the youth version of the Appalachian Writers Conference, which the Heinemann Settlement School developed for the last 4 or 5 decades. So they're looking. So in that case, we're looking for the youngsters who might someday aspire to have their work reviewed at the Appalachian Writers Conference, which is where people from the Appalachia go. That's where their work ends up if they're serious about it. So we're looking for the youngsters to fuel into that pipeline.
And we've worked really hard through these programs between the Heinemann Settlement School, the Bullitt County Project, the Book Award is what we're finding as we've started this foundation. I think this past year is the common thread of bringing people together, building bridges between like-minded individuals who are trying to do the same thing, collaboration, and bringing people together in the spirit of writing and poetry. But if someone knows of a project or a program that they would like to share with us, we'd like to know about it. And our website is jamesbakerhallfoundation.org, so they can always contact us there.
Part of the process of outreach involves, at least in Bullitt County, helping them to establish a structure which we can then support, right? And so that
help me help you.
Help me help you. And what we need to be able to help them is we need an arts center, a community arts center, and we need an organization that can run that community arts center. Then that's the place that they can gather. You need the place that they can gather, and then they need time to make their art. And so if they have the community center, and what we've started is kind of modeling on the model of Boyd Station, a group that's been established in Cynthiana, which has a very robust artists guild as the organization underlying their activities there. So we're looking to establish an artists guild in help them in Bullitt County to establish an artists guild as the organizational structure that can manage a community center. Then that's where things can start to happen. Beyond the funding of Bobby's efforts in the detention center now, the future, to expand that, we need more structure. That's what we're helping them do.
And how can one get involved?
Well, going back to our webpage at jamesbakerhallfoundation.org, that's a good way to connect with us. We have several things. We're new, so what we're trying to do is get the word out. So we have started sort of a speakers bureau format. We're calling them home parties, house parties, where we're having gatherings in individuals' homes just to tell our story and to ask for support. Volunteer-wise, of course, we will be seeking donations, but ways to help us connect in the community. And there's a lot of individuals interested in helping. We just need to reach out to them. So they can host a party in their home, and we have several other volunteer opportunities from helping with research. There's a lot of possibilities for that. So if someone's interested in helping, then we will follow up with them and talk to them and find out where their interests lie.
What would you like the future of your organization to look like?
Well, I tell you, my vision is that there will be a day not too long in the future where the James Baker Hall Book Award will be of such a magnitude that people will want to move to the States to qualify for it. And that's my objective, that it needs to be I want it to be an award that would bring someone to the state, because part of our mission is to promote Kentucky as the destination for artists and art lovers, and which it already is, but we want to make a big deal of that. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing, and what we're looking to do on the collaborative outreach programs is move them around. Right, we're going to take Right to Recover that Bobby Buchanan is doing in Bullitt County and maybe do it in several other counties, get her to train the people and get a network going that way. Also from the Heinemann Settlement School, the visiting residency program that Heinemann has developed to find the kids in the high schools. It's a two-stage kind of process. You get someone who's a published author who's ready to go into the high schools and work with the English department and get the kids interested and be there on a sustained basis to get them and to find the kids who would then be interested in going to the Ironwoods Writers Conference, which is in the first part of the summer. It's a summertime retreat kind of program that they run in Heinemann. So we want to take that program and duplicate this, find kids to go to Ironwood all over the state. Right now, Heinemann's Settlement School is only able to do that locally in Knott County and other places in eastern Kentucky. I bet there's kids that would benefit from Ironwood all over the place. And so I'd like to go and find them and get them to Ironwood and see if there's, the next, Nobel Prize winning poet sitting out there someplace.
Jeanine, what excites you about the foundation?
Oh my gosh. Just the fact that we're starting something new and being able to recognize Jim's legacy and all the amazing work that he did in his life and bringing it all to fruition and capturing the enthusiasm and love for the art that his students had. There's just so many pieces as we start new that are starting to evolve and come together. And I gain a lot of satisfaction in helping this come to fruition, and then especially being able to support up-and-coming writers and artists and individuals that are trying to find their way and who just need that extra a piece of support. Someone to recognize what they're doing is very important, and so it's just very satisfying. So we have a lot of work to do, but we've also I've accomplished a lot in a year, and it's been very exciting.
One of the really gratifying things about this work is that we've been able to track down my father's old students, and they're all over. He taught at UK for 30 years. And he was loved by almost I haven't run into anyone who didn't like him at all, really. And on the contrary, his former students, most of them will look at me and say, he changed my life. And so, he had 30, 40, 50 kids a year, and that so multiplied by 30. And so there's a lot of people sitting around who had a real, who he touched in a way that's very unusual for a university professor, and so we're in the process of finding these people. They're scattered all over the place. So we're finding them and kind of bringing them into the story if we can. Part of the event on October 1st will be a reception for the alumni of his program, and hopefully we can contact enough to make that a viable and a living group of people, see what we can do with it.
Well, and you were asking me about volunteer opportunities. One of the tasks that's most daunting for us is we do have found records and just know of by friends of friends and the family, the connections that stayed, the individuals who stayed connected with Jim's family once they graduated. There is a small core group of those former students, but we now need to try to reach out and find the rest of them. And it's sort of like, I've used the analogy, like when you get ready for your high school reunion and the committee sits down and they have to figure out, where do all these people live? And if anyone's been involved with that process, it's the same type of process. And so we're hoping to, if anyone who is hearing this, who's one of former Jim students, we'd love to have you involved with just helping us create that database and find those former students that we just haven't, it's going to be a process. We know they're out there. It's just finding them. And with the internet, of course, it will be easy, but it is a process. And it certainly is a volunteer opportunity. It would be a great deal of help to us for some individuals to help do that research.
Well, listeners of Accents, You heard it. You know, you have your mission. What would Jim think about all this?
We were just talking about this actually, and I think if we get down to the core of what he was about, it was about letting the truth come out, finding a way to let the truth come out about everything. You know, I don't know if it's categorically true, but I think poets tend to tell the truth. You know, I mean, they tend to tell the truth, and that's a comforting thing. And he spent his life. The more I understand about his psyche and his personality, he was a driven man. I mean, he was a machine. I mean, he just cranked it out every day. His purpose was very clear to him, and it was to make art and to help other people make art. So we're helping the other people make art in his name, and we also believe that it's the other side of the equation that we don't hear all the time. We don't hear it very clearly as a society, and we need it. We need it to have any kind of balance in our life. We must have it, and so we're going to go. I think he would be very proud of us. He'd be tickled to death at some of the stuff that I do, but he would be really proud of what the foundation is doing, and that's to help artists make their art, and we'll continue to do that. I think we'll have a lot of success, actually.
I have no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I have no doubt. And what motivated you to support the Kentucky Book Festival?
Well, that's the biggest gathering place for literary endeavors in this state every year. So, of course, we would be honored to participate.
Mm-hmm. We just think, when I was mentioning earlier about the best part is pulling all these pieces together in collaboration and making, that's just this. The festival is just one part of that. It's a perfect example of what we can do to collaborate with others that are doing great work in this space. So, and then we'll make connections at the book festival. It's amazing. It's just amazing, the community. Once you dig into this community of writers and creative folks and individuals who have a love for this art and in photography too. It's just amazing as we've had more conversations with people, the networking and the relationships and being part of festival just sort of solidifies that.
And we haven't so far been able to do very much with Jim as a photographer. This year has just been about him as a poet, and as a leader of the artistic community in the state when he was still alive. And the interesting thing that really got us started was the amount of energy that's still out there behind his name. When we published his memoir in a couple of years ago and introduced that at the book fair, and the amount of the intensity of the reception was so amazing to me that I realized that there was a lot that could be done with that, and so that's what we're focused on exponentially growing that kind of fervor, behind his name and behind his work to help others.
Larry, Jeanine, thank you for coming to Accents, and I'll see you at the festival, November 2nd, 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Joseph Beth.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you there.